start with the main event. This not the best fight you can make in the middleweight division in my opinion at this moment. I think Robert Whitaker is the number one contender. But on short notice or on the timeline, Israel Adesanya and the UFC wanted Marvin Vettori is the guy who was ready to step up, and so he will get his shot in a rematch against Israel Adesanya. Let's talk about what makes this fight interesting. It's a rematch, as I said, and Marvin Vettori is really the only guy at middleweight who's managed to control Adesanya for any amount of time on the ground. He's coming off a performance where he spent most of the fight doing just that, showing off his wrestling and being coasting to a very dominant victory. So that's kind of the question. And in addition, Adesanya, as beatable as he has ever looked for the first time in his UFC career, he'll be fighting coming off a loss. So we've got a fighter who just had some loss in a particular way. We have a fighter who is capable of fighting in that particular style. The question is, can the square peg fit into a square hole, or is it a round hole? Can Marvin Vettori do more or less what Jan Blachowicz did against Izzy? I don't think so. And to talk a little more about that Jan fight, it took Jan having a striking IQ and ability close to Izzy's. I wouldn't say it was better in that, like, pound for pound, you put them in the same body and Jan wins, but that's just not how fighting works. Everyone has a different body. Jan having a reach that Izzy wasn't as used to, having a lot more power behind his shots, and was able to maximize both those things to be slightly ahead in the striking, staying a bit busier with the jabs. I don't see Vettori being able to keep the tempo and the pace at like this very low volume striking affair where he can actually outstrike Izzy. That just it was the power of Blachowicz and the striking experience. Vittori's not going to have either of those things. And then that style of striking is what let Jan set up the takedowns. They all came in off strikes and some really beautiful fake step in momentum, like set up a trip. And then once he got on top, sure, if Vettori manages to take it to the ground, I'm sure he can hold Izzy there. But I don't see it. I don't see him having the striking success that was a prerequisite for Jan to outgrapple Izzy. I think this is just an opportunity for Izzy to have like a star raising performance. He already is a star. This is just a chance to say, hey, remember this guy? I beat him a couple of years ago in a split decision. One judge was silly. Now I'm going to raise the bar and do that same thing, but better. Stop this guy. I can see this going kind of similar to the Costa fight, where Vettori wants to be close and he wants to threaten, but just Izzy's such a snake charmer and so hard to stand in front of, and he'll make you pay when you stand there and eventually find the shot.